Hey everybody, Kat here. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. It's Tuesday, December 2nd. It's going to be a big week for the Royals. We know that on December 5th, Friday, it'll be airing her carol concert at the cathedral. That's right. And that's always been a big hit. Great for the royal family, and the wider public just loves it. And of course, Meghan's got to try to undercut Catherine's public, appearance at the concert. All the goodwill. Well, Meghan doesn't want Catherine to have any goodwill. So tomorrow, mark this on your calendar, guys. One More Sleep with Love Meghan is going to be featuring her holiday special. Yeah, can't call it Christmas. It's a holiday special with friends and family. Well, I guess she considers, Harry family. It's all she's got. With the friends we've discovered through the whole series of With Love Meghan. These are not close personal friends. They're either other Netflix, they've got Netflix content happening, so it's like cross content. We'll put you in this show kind of a thing. The same thing goes with their agencies. We've had her makeup artist, that she for 10 years, her best friend, and she doesn't even know if he's allergic to peanuts or not. This kind of thing. Well, we know the whole thing's fake anyway. We know it's stupid. We've seen in her Instagram lately, she's gained the nickname Salmonella Sussex, because of her such unhygienic practices trying to, show us she's cooking a turkey. Absurd. If you haven't seen it, it's good for a laugh. $60,000 worth of bangles and rings, and she's fisting a turkey and dry rubbing it. Not butter, not any butter inside. The whole thing is just cringy and awful. She's terrible. So I don't know how, and we know her numbers have been just atrocious for viewing, and I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people will cringe watch, hate watch so they can talk to you about it as well. Sure. Personally, I'm not going to be watching it. I'm not going to waste my time. You'll see enough clips on YouTube anyway. Why would I give her the view? I don't want to give her any views. I don't want to help her along, because I know she's a fraud in every sense of the word. Absolute fraud. But that Catherine has nothing to worry about. Meghan, try as she might, continuously can never overshadow the real royal. Soon to be Queen Catherine, in my opinion, very soon, a matter of months, weeks. I've said this. Check out my playlist, King Charles III, Life Imitating Art. And you'll see where we're at. We're getting close, guys. And this is why we are seeing William really step up and try to take control of the situation. We know that he's been instrumental in dealing with Andrew, something that in 3 years the king couldn't sort out. William gets the ball rolling in a matter of a couple of weeks. Now, they're kind of stalled right now because Christmas is coming. They're all going to Sandringham. Apparently, it's still kind of on that this might be where Andrew's headed, to one of the several big homes on the Sandringham estate, because up there he's kind of tucked out of the way of everybody and not going to be seen. But of course, Christmas, nobody wants to be around him at Christmas. And they're really going to have to light a fire under his arse to get him out of Royal Lodge, because he's really stalling. He doesn't want to go. Sarah doesn't want to go. I talked yesterday, though, about her moving in with her daughter on their estate, $3.2 million house, and they've got a large converted outbuilding that they have. And I mean, so here's the thing. In the article in the Daily Mail, and I didn't read the whole thing, but it goes on, and I talked a little bit about the renovations and the fittings and the furnace and all the things, windows, that have been done to this building to create a nice little, I think it's a 1-bedroom cottage, kind of. But she's got access to the main house. There's pool and tennis courts and, I mean, everything that you can imagine. So, you know, she's not homeless, as they like to say. She's, you know, she's gonna be just fine. As much as she and her people, and even the Daily Mail, well, we know for a long time she's had a good relationship with the Daily Mail, right? So she can tell them something and they'll print it. I mean, but the royals have been doing that from time immemorial, running the press. We know Diana, Richard Kay. Wow. You know, everybody, we know that Camilla had her people in the press that she would speak to. A whole lot of that was going on. The whole War of the Waleses, Diana and Charles briefing against each other. Well, yeah, there was and Camilla was in the mix too. That's why you have people like Penny Junor, who's a real apologist for King Charles, saying, oh yeah, she even wrote a book and put forth, you know, the theory that they were all working on, is that Diana was unstable and all of that. These people were horrible. The king, Camilla. There are people in the press, people in the palace. You know, they absolutely abused Princess Diana. Absolutely. I've never liked Camilla. I don't care. It's not, you know, they say, oh, love story for the ages. They should have been able to marry when they were young. Well, they didn't. Charles, in fact, was, you know, he didn't even ask her at that time. And that's why he went off to the Navy, just assumed that she'd stick around. Well, she married Parker Bowles while he was at sea. I mean, it didn't stop them. They're all degenerates anyway. They were all banging each other. And, you know, Parker Bowles was even banging Anne at one point. It was a nice little foursome going on. It was, well, not technically. They were not each other, but, you know, Anne and him did have a relationship while he was dating Camilla while she was sleeping with Charles. I mean, the whole thing is nasty. You know, these people, this is what they're like. They all compete against each other. They all brief against each other. They use the press as well to brief against each other. And this is one thing that for a very long time, even people in the press corps would say, in the Royal Rota would say, oh, well, that's not true. That never happened. And I mean, if it's the only truth that's come out of his mouth, I mean, Harry said that. He said, yeah, the palace was breathing against me. This is what was going on. And we discovered, in fact, that it's true. And we see it happening now. We know that there's competition between William's office and the king's office. The king is the king, and what he says goes, but what I've been saying for a long time is that William is going to compel him and take charge behind the scenes just because things are so bad. And I mean, look at the state of the royal family ending up this year. We've got Andrew and Sarah have been stripped of all their titles, but they're not really stripped. They have, just don't use them. Apparently he's getting his admiralty stripped from him as well. But I mean, it's all in flux, and what does it mean anyway? You can't call yourself HRH, but we're still gonna, the things you've done are so bad and abhorrent. Less sending you to prison, we are going to exile you. I'd like that brand of exile. 5-bedroom house on an estate, fully furnished. Oh, this is a fun fact for you. And it applies to all of them, not just Andrew. It seems that in the process of him packing up to move, he's been told, and I'm so glad to see that Charles is really putting his foot down hard. He's been told that he cannot take any of the artwork from Royal Lodge to wherever he's going next. No. He's not allowed. That artwork's staying because it belongs to the crown. But there's no worries, because whatever new lodging that they agree upon, it's going to be fully furnished. There's going to be fine art and fittings all through, no doubt. They don't have to buy furniture at the store. They don't have to order things online, throw blankets online. Everything is given to them. They will outfit their house. I mean, sure, yeah, if they want to buy things, they will buy things. But the point is, there's all of that stuff available to them, priceless art and wonderful furniture. And I mean, why not if you can have access to that? For sure. And Andrew, he's going to be able to, they're not going to move him into an empty house. He's going to be just fine. But in light of all of this, that isn't even resolved yet, we have heard that William, knowing the unscrupulous manner in which Andrew conducted his life and his business, William wanted to take a little bit of a look at Beatrice and Eugenie's finances, business practices, business accounts. Because it has come out that in at least a couple of occasions, that Eugenie and Beatrice have indeed been financially rewarded through shady deals of their father. I mean, $25,000 just pops in your bank account for no reason. Beatrice says, I've never met the woman. I have no idea what this is for, but I'll take it, Claims that this was for a birthday party and this was a wedding gift. Yeah. $25,000, $50,000 just kind of shows up in your bank account. Friend of your dad's, you have no idea what it's for or how this happened. You know, those girls are not as innocent as they would like you to appear, in my opinion. You look at Beatrice, she's always over in Saudi promoting this or that or throwing tea parties, or the grift goes on. I mean, when those girls were younger, Andrew used to take him with them on his business trips so that they could learn the ropes. He could introduce them to his business contacts, right? And so everybody's pretty sure now that shady things have happened, and the girls, you know, determining their level of involvement and their level of knowledge of what went on, that is what William wants to look at. And apparently what they said online, like I just read it, I don't know if it's true, but what they're saying is that the girls declined. They declined William's request. Well, here's the thing. In the way that I've described that William's having to deal with his father right now, deal with Andrew, kind of working the situation behind the scenes, but really taking charge of it. William, in my opinion, I don't think he would have requested their cooperation. I think he would have said, I want to see, it's got to be, I'm sorry, but it's got to be done. I want to see this. And if they declined that, now keep in mind, see, and here's where the conflict is, because King Charles has promoted the girls. He's included the girls. He's like, you know, don't let the sins of the father kind of a thing. But he's never looked into the girls' practices either. He's just blindly, you know, come to Papa, you know, I'll protect you. So there's a huge conflict there. More and more people are saying that the king is actually more ill than the palace would let you know. And I mean, that's not unusual because they do not like to share health concerns. Just remember back to when the Queen died, right? It was noon that day that the announcement came that her doctors said they were watching, they were concerned for the Queen's health. And then we find out, you know, they made the announcement at like 6:30 that she had died. And we find out later that she actually had died at around 2:30 in the afternoon. But they waited for everybody to arrive to make the statement. So that's not unusual that they are not going to tell you everything. But now here's the thing. My playlist, and this is, it's wow. It's happening. My playlist, King Charles III, Life Imitating Art. It's an interesting premise. You should check it out if you haven't, because it'll explain everything. I had said, even before we had a cancer diagnosis, that King Charles's reign would be a short one. Because in my contention was that there would be so much scandal and so much discord, and the public and the politician would turn against him, and we would have a seminal event from which we knew things were in motion. We've had all that. Go check it out. Yeah. So it's my contention that William is really trying to run things behind the scenes, and that Charles, and I've said it early spring, first quarter, 12 weeks, a matter of weeks. And that William would compel Charles to step down, abdicate, basically. Now, and I said, when we got the cancer diagnosis, I said, well, and here's the thing. I've been affected by cancer in my family. I don't know anybody that hasn't. It's an awful thing. So I'm not playing down anything when I say my next statement, but I said, I was calling for his abdication even before we had the diagnosis. So in light of that, here's the situation. We know that William and the king are not operating in accord as they would like us to believe. And I think William, by this point now, is actively kind of running the show behind the scenes. If it is true that Charles is more ill than we've been led to believe, it'd be really easy for him to step down now, wouldn't it? And in hopes that nobody would have to know that he was thrown off the throne. That's what I think we're facing. I think because this isn't the snowball that this whole Andrew and Sarah thing has created is growing, and day by day there's calls for more investigation into the palace and their practices and the monarchy, and even Edward and Sophie, who you never see boo about in the press, they're under fire now for the same kind of deal they got with Bagshot Park, which is a huge estate. Don't forget, their daughter does the carriage riding. They've got stables and horses and 120 room house that he hasn't paid rent on in 25 years either. So yeah, the public is really clamoring for there to be more transparency with the royals. What are we paying for? Why do they have all this money? What are they doing? And, what is the point of them, really? There's always been a certain amount of, about 30% of Brits, that would describe themselves as Republicans, wanting a republic rather than a monarchy. And, maybe it's a little bit more now. The scandal that the royals are under. And, don't forget, there's all the scandal, all of Charles's stuff that's never been resolved. They just kind of sweep things under the rug, move a couple of people around, and hope after a while nobody notices. And they've been pretty good at it up till now. But now in the age of the internet, and everybody's got a phone, and everybody can, and there's leaks, all the things, and I'm sure they're all leaking against each other. So it's a monarchy in disarray right now. Nothing is really resolved. All of this stuff is still up in the air. And the whole point is, are they going to be able to is tucking Andrew away and Sarah away going to be enough to appease the public and stop them baying for blood? I don't think so. I don't think so. That's why the king has to go. And I think that's what's coming. And I would watch for it any first quarter between now and April. I don't think it's going to be too long at all. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Leave me a comment. I want to know what you're thinking about all of this. And we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.